Indeed. So listen, I definitely want to get into this book, your book.
Hmm.
And that's what led us here. I shouted out your book. I bought it. Let me
Wow.
tell y'all, family. Billy Carson, com- compendium of the Emerald Tablets, a beginner's
Hmm.
guide. Green cover with the Tahuti. He has Tahuti on the cover. So I definitely advise everybody to get the book. With that being said, Billy Carson, listen, my brother, you said some interesting,
Amen.
controversial things in the book about
Hmm.
Tahuti. One being that he had a regeneration chamber and he lived for thousands of years and he had many lives and he was able to transfer his consciousness into other bodies. One thing you said you said that the Jesus that we know about may have been a reincarnation of Tahuti. You said earlier in the program that the original Sphinx had the face of Tahuti. I thought I would. I thought I read that it was it was astrological. That's why it had the lion on it. It was it was an astrological thing, and it was
Hmm.
about that, the astrological sign Leo or something like that. So you said some things that I haven't heard before, and I'm sure a lot
Yeah.
of people haven't heard before. So talk to me about this book, my brother, that can come. I hope I'm saying it right. The Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, and how did you come
Yeah.
up with all this information, my brother?
Yeah. You're saying the name right.
Okay.
Compendium. The word compendium means a culmination. So what I've done is I was reading the Emerald Tablets for many years, and I was just like blown away by the information and the content in these Emerald Tablets. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And as I started to talk to other people about the Emerald Tablets, a lot of people were really trying to read them and digest them and understand them. But it was, to them, it was almost just like reading verses out of the Bible. A lot of them couldn't really digest all the information, a lot of the esoteric wisdom, knowledge, and the metaphysics. And I also saw technology in there and quantum physics and quantum mechanics. And I was like, whoa, this is deep stuff. So when I realized that a lot of people were struggling with it, and only a handful of people I had talked to were really able to understand some of the concepts, I started really digging into the history of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And I realized that other people had come across this, very studious scholars, and had come up with, even some of them were inspired to write their own books about the Emerald Tablets, or kind of veered off from that to write a book kind of using that concept or that esoteric wisdom. But nobody wanted to really dig into a lot of the other aspects of what was hidden in there. So I said, I need to write a book about this and expose this to the world so people can really get a great understanding of really what's being said here, the truth about what's going on, and the vast knowledge and wisdom that's contained in here. And, and I still missed a lot. I mean, it's just mind blowing. So that's why I wrote the book Compendium of the Emerald Tablets. And as I began to dig into it, I realized that there was so much that I had already researched and studied that was getting confirmation in these tablets. So for me, it was easy for me to make the correlation, because all my years of research and investigation and all my travels and everything else were now being confirmed what I was reading in these Emerald Tablets. And when I started realizing that the words of Yeshua in the modern day King James Bible, or the modern day any version Bible where Yeshua is speaking, were matching up to what was being said by Tahuti thousands, tens of thousands of years ago, then I realized that Yeshua, who's also known as "quote unquote" Jesus, was a student of this ancient God. And so people say, "Oh, Jesus didn't exist." Well, kind of. Now, Jesus himself, the word Jesus is a fake name. Number one, it means "Hail Zeus." But Yeshua was a real person. Yeshua was a real person that did exist and physically walked around in an avatar body, who was part Anunnaki and also was a student of the Egyptian mysteries and lived in Egypt. I was in the house where he lived. It's a shrine now. He then left there. If you read the Gospel of the Holy 12, it's a very hard to find book. It's out of production. I had to pay $650 for these scriptures. He left out of Egypt and went to India, and also went to Tibet. He wanted to learn the mystic arts and Reiki healing with his hands and many other esoteric knowledge and wisdom. And he was teaching reincarnation. And the book of his Yeshua's wife is on display at Harvard University. And he got married. He actually got married and most likely had children. So the Merovingian bloodline is still on the planet today. So, but when I started seeing the correlations between that and the correlations between what DARPA and our military is doing technologically, and the correlation between the Emerald Tablets and metaphysics and quantum physics and different sciences and stuff. I said, wow, I got to write a book about this. So that's what I did. I set out to write a book about it, and it's blowing people's minds. It's like, the correlations in there are just astounding, and I'm really looking forward to making a volume 3.
Oh man, that'd be awesome. That'd definitely be awesome. Now, when we think about Tahuti, we think about so a lot of people think about Hermes Trismegistus. How do you say that?
Trismegistus. Hermes Trismegistus, thrice born.
Right. So we think about like the law of vibration, or what in modern terms we call the law of attraction, and or the 7 Hermetic laws of the universe. And I think about individuals like Abraham. Let's say Abraham Hicks, who is an absolute monster when it comes to the law of attraction. Or let's say about Bashar. And I forgot the gentleman who Bashar is the entity, and the gentleman who channels him, Daryl Anka or something like that.
Yeah.
But these individuals, their information is very similar to the information in your book, or it's very similar to the information as far as the 7 Hermetic laws in the universe or the laws of Tahuti. Even the documentary The Secret is extremely similar to what you're talking about or what you deal with on a daily basis. Is this the same is this the same collective entity coming in different names?
It is. See, we're living in a fractal holographic universe. So fractals don't just have to do with physical matter. Fractals can also is really mostly consciousness. So consciousness is also a fractal because consciousness creates what we consider to be physical or reality. So the original consciousness of this Tahuti, Thoth, Hermes, Quetzalcoatl, Lord Pakal, whatever you want to call him, Kukulkan. I mean, the names are, Mercury. The names are enormous. But this entity, over the many eons, has put forth out information, and it is literally has gone out into the universe. And because a thought, once it's thought, it's an electromagnetic wave that goes out into space-time. It's out there permanently. It never dissipates. And if you're on the right frequency, you can pick up my thought and download it and think that you got an idea to create or invent or something else. But it could be a thought that's already, most likely, in my opinion, it is already a thought that was already floating around. But this entity's mind was so powerful and so strong, and still is, I believe, that it's emanating this information consistently from the source, and people are getting on the frequency and actually downloading it. And when people hear things like downloading information, they go, this sounds too magical or mystical. Actually, it's real science. This is why one of the reasons that it allowed me to get so as big as I'm getting is because I always back things up with real science. Right. DNA is a storage medium. In other words, it's a hard drive. It's already been scientifically proven.
You said 700 terabytes on 1 gram of DNA. I heard you say that before. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. 700
terabytes on 1 gram of DNA, but then they've maximized that now to 433 petabytes of data. So
wow.
So they've really maxed it out. So now what they found out, so they connected the DNA to a physical hard drive, uploading and downloading data, zeros and ones. They realized that a human body can store an enormous amount of data. Matter of fact, a human body can store 13.5 billion years of data, which ironically is the same age as the universe. So your body has the history of the entire universe inside of it. Now, they've also analyzed DNA further and realized it sends and receives information wirelessly. So DNA is sending consistently and receiving consistently, upload, download. Consistently. This is real peer-reviewed science. This isn't my guess or a hypothesis or whatever. This is real peer-reviewed science. So what's happening is, if you're on the right frequency with anything, the right matching frequency, you synchronize with that information or that source, and your DNA literally downloads it into your body, and then it becomes part of your thought consciousness. So this is real science. Matter of fact, Microsoft just created the first DNA hard drive. This is going to make things like teleportation possible now, because the only thing that was stopping us from doing teleportation was being able to store trillions of atoms, spin rate and location at the same time, to put it back in the same exact XYZ location on the other end. But now with DNA hard drives, it's a piece of cake. So we're going to be doing teleportations here within the next 10 years. It's going to be amazing. We're teleporting now atoms and molecules. Soon it'll be much more complex things like actual physical objects. and also maybe even some small biological objects as well.
Amazing.
So it's all about storage space.